Hi, I'm Shireen Al-Faqi. I am an author and an academic and an activist. I work on masculinities in the Arab region. I'm delighted to attend this event, IIF MENA. It's a wonderful opportunity to talk about building the resilience of women and girls across our region. In particular, I am participating in a session looking at engaging men and boys in gender equality. Now, the vast majority of laws and policies, community action on the ground, and research around gender has focused on women and girls in the Arab region, and rightly so. But it is one of the paradoxes of the Arab world that men and boys, who are the pillars of our patriarchies, we actually know very little about them, about their inner lives, about how they see their changing role in society, and how they see the changing place of women in Arab societies and around the world. We need to keep in mind that patriarchies are good for the people at the top of the pyramid, who more often than not happen to be men. But for those down below in the hierarchy, things are tough. It's tough for women and it's tough for men as well. There is one young man in Egypt, a university student, who summed it up for me perfectly. He said, "You know, Shireen, being a man in our culture, it is a tremendous privilege, but it is also tremendous pressure." And those pressures are everywhere. The economics, which mean that men are finding it increasingly difficult to find jobs, particularly young men. And if you can't find a job in many societies across our region, it's very hard to get married. It's hard to move out of your parents' place. It's hard to start a family. All the traditional hallmarks of masculinity, they're very difficult to achieve. Men are falling behind in performance in schools, for example. Our men are caught up in conflicts and in displacement. We have millions of men on the move across the region. There are pressures on men as there are on women everywhere. The issue for us, for those of us who are interested in bringing men and boys into the discussion, we want to bring them to the table, but we don't want them to expect to be served. If they're going to come to the table on gender equality, then they need to be with us, with women and girls, in preparing the feast before us. We're not talking about men's rights, we're not talking about women's rights. We have a fundamental struggle in our region to achieve basic human rights, achieving them on paper and actually securing them in practice. And we will only win this struggle if men and women, boys and girls are working together. And that is why I'm so glad to attend this conference where these issues are being discussed by men and women. It is an excellent example of how we can work together for the greater good of the Arab region.